Spin the wheel, truth unrolls. 360 fire, burning holes. In the lies they stitch like seams. Pull the threads, unravel dreams. Eyes wide open, can't unsee. Chains they wrapped in secrecy. Freedom whispers loud and bold. Feel the heat, this truth ain't cold. Tin Hat Thursday, light the flame. Sparks ignite. Cloaks in shadows, puppet strings. Whisper lies, the devil sings. But the rabbit digs too deep. Unveils secrets meant to keep. Eyes like daggers cut the dark. Blazing trails ignite the Thursday light the flame. Thursday light the flame.
Rip'n Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community in common sense content is intended
Rip it open, break the mold. Truth is fire, truth is gold. Spark. Thursday light the flame. Truth
Is Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. I am Screech Owl Scott,
And I'm Red.
and we are coming to you live from our perch high above the western shores of Lake Michigan, where we will be screaming 360 degrees of truth. We want to thank you for joining us on Tin Hat Thursday and hope that you will join us right here on Rippin' Common Sense Radio each and every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. If you are listening on Rumble or YouTube, we invite you to hop on over to rippandrabbithole.com and join the rest of Tin Hat Nation in the VIP Backstage Lounge. The Backstage Lounge is free and always will be. Go to rippandrabbithole.com, click on the Backstage 24/7 Lounge in the taskbar. Scroll down a bit until you see the big red Enter Now button. Click on that red button. Allow your permissives. Put in your name and join the fun. Just remember to keep yourself muted until the show ends. Listen to the show and then hang around for some spirited discussion with others. The Backstage Lounge is a great place to meet new friends and talk about anything that you want to. And we can speak from experience when we say that you will often find screech owls deep into the early AM hours. That is rippandrabbithole.com. RIPPONRABBITHOLE.com. Happy Thursday, Red.
Happy Thursday.
Well, we made it through a show last night with the new equipment.
And we're going to attempt it again.
With just a couple little glitches. We're going to hope that everything runs smooth again tonight.
It better.
So that we're ready to take this show on the road when we need to.
Absolutely. Because we got a couple of thoughts in mind for taking it on the road.
Yes, we do.
And you ended up playing our song, too, on the way back home today. On the road again.
Oh, yes.
Long story.
All right, folks. Well, Red, I know we put in the promo we're going to talk about what the flock is going on around here.
I know, what the flock.
But we're going to get to that. But I think before we do, we had something happen in Madison yesterday, and I think we have to at least touch on it briefly.
Absolutely, because I have an opinion about it.
Because we took, well, of course, you have an opinion about everything. Right?
Well, I wouldn't be a woman if I wouldn't.
We had
just kidding.
A police shooting, and before we get into this, last night we talked a little bit about the corruption in Racine County in the sheriff's office.
And there's more to come.
And yes, there's more to come on that one. But this in no way means that we don't support law enforcement, because we do.
Absolutely, we do.
Without question, we do. Now there are a few bad apples in the bunch that make it tough for the rest of them.
Well, I mean, in any walk of life, think about it. There's always at least one person in every walk of life that makes it bad for everybody, and the good ones have to fight like heck to restore their good name.
Right. So yesterday read it as, and we didn't talk about it at all last night. Yesterday there was an officer involved shooting in Madison.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there was a gentleman who was allegedly trying to break into some vehicles in and around the Capitol
Correct.
area, and when law enforcement approached him, he took off on his bicycle. They were able to catch up to him, and when they tried to place him under arrest, he was very defiant.
Combative.
Yes, very
Yep.
combative, and was able to break free long enough to my understanding, to pull a knife out.
Yep.
And he did take a swipe at one of the officers who was injured in
Mm-hmm.
that uh, by the knife, and he ultimately was shot, and he was shot to death.
And
And
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be heartless, but you FAFO, in my opinion. If you're going to get arrested, doesn't matter if you want to get arrested or not. Nobody wants to get arrested. Take it up after the arrest. Don't, take it to court. Don't sit and try to combat them, because if you haven't learned by now, there are consequences to fighting law enforcement. Definitely when you pull out a weapon. What do you expect? So that's just my opinion on that part.
um, yeah, and like everything in life nowadays, people have cell phones right there, and there was some video uh, that I saw on Facebook or on social media yesterday. Read
Yep.
that was pretty gruesome. I mean, it showed, yeah, it was
It
pretty,
was graphic.
it was very graphic, and of course that raises the temperature in the community
Of course.
when
And
anytime
you're
things like
in
this happen,
Madison,
and
you
and
know,
pe-
and what happens in Madison?
people are concerned, people are upset, but we have a mayor in uh, Madison who now today, and the temperature is still elevated, and
Of course.
there were protesters, uh, and the report I saw was mostly peaceful in
Hmm.
Madison today. But the mayor of Madison, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, Satya Rhodes Conway,
Hmm.
released a written statement where she, among other things, she said it was an absolute tragedy. She said she was both angered and saddened by what had happened. That her heart breaks for the family of the man who was killed, the people who witnessed the shooting, and the broader Madison community affected by the incident. Uh, and she went on to say, and I quote, "It's an absolute tragedy when a member of our community is killed by anyone, but especially by the police." And she concluded that we need to do better as a city and a society. And that doesn't sound like a mayor who's coming out in support of her law enforcement.
No, but you know what? I guarantee you that law or that mayor is going to want that law enforcement right by her side for her protection.
It's just tragic, and it was a tragic afternoon. But
Absolutely.
let's face it, an officer was attacked with a knife, and he discharged his firearm, and like you said, it's the classic case of FAFO.
Yep.
And uh,
I guess I was brought up way different than a lot of these people, because I was taught to respect law enforcement, and I was taught that you better obey the police officers when you're confronted, with them, like say on a traffic stop or whatever the case is. You always respect them.
well, let's face it, Red,
And
though,
if you don't, this kind of stuff is what happens.
we can look at respect almost, you talked about in all walks of life. I think respect is sorely lacking in our country, not
Oh,
just for
yeah.
law enforcement, but within our communities, and that's one of the problems. But today, the protesters then today read the chief of police and the mayor were holding a press conference to discuss what happened and release the gentleman's name, who is now deceased. And I know I probably shouldn't use stormed, but there were like a dozen protesters that gained entrance into this area where the press conference was being held, and they somehow took over the press conference and they moved into the podium, and chaos ensued, and the chief of police stepped back, and law enforcement that was there, they didn't make immediate arrest of any kind.
This is what really bothers me
And
because this is another instance, in my opinion, those police officers should have immediately arrested every single one of them. Every one of them.
and we
But
don't
they didn't.
and we don't know if there was a stand down,
Oh, I'm
or
sure it was a
well,
stand
well,
down
we don't
order.
know though, Red. We don't know if there was a stand down order, but for whatever reason, they didn't react to the protesters who came in. And these guys, one of these guys got on the microphone and went on some kind of a rant, and it was the people in the room then who started screaming and yelling because they wanted to hear they wanted to hear what law enforcement had to say. They wanted to hear from the mayor.
So maybe that's an assignment for you and I to try, huh? Next time
No,
Megan
not
Wolf is trying to tell us about safe and secure elections, maybe we should storm and take over the microphone and see what happens.
well.
I
I don't.
guarantee you we'd be arrested.
And I agree with you, Red. There should have been arrests, but we don't know if there was a stand down order. What we do know is that uh, these protesters took over the press conference, at least for a short period of time. Now they were able to conclude the press conference, uh, and I'm not sure what happened. But folks, Madison needs some prayers tonight.
Well,
That
and who was at one of those or at that protest?
Well, and we do know that one of the gubernatorial candidates, Francesca Hong.
And in my opinion, I do not want a governor of the state of Wisconsin, and I know she's only a candidate right now, but I do not want her to be participating in these protests. I don't care if you believed in what happened or what didn't happen or whatever the case is. Keep your butt out of it. Go back to campaigning. Not to mention, she has come out and said she wants to abolish the police, literally take them away, and she wants to get rid of prisons. And I will tell you right now, I have a real problem with the getting rid of prisons because my uncle was murdered back in 1987, and that gentleman is sitting there trying to get out of prison again right now. And if he gets out, that's not a good thing for our family. I'm sorry, but it's not. Or
Well,
any other
well,
family, because
I,
he has murdered 4 people.
I don't suspect that Francesca Hong will be successful in eliminating prisons,
Well, she
and
better not be.
uh, but she was at the protests, and you would expect her to be. I mean, we don't want that from our governor, and I heard
No,
you say,
no, I guess it doesn't surprise me either.
given her stance on law enforcement. She did say that the state cannot protect a system that continues to rain harm and terror. So again, the finger pointing their fingers at law enforcement, and it's still under investigation. They haven't released the body cam.
Or to the FAFO. Take it up in court.
All right, Red. Well, I think we averted a problem there.
I hope so.
And Mrs. Witch House, and I hope you're right that that's the case. I'm hearing things in my head, Red,
Yeah, I know, so was I.
and I don't know. It might be my phone.
But anyway,
So ugly.
I will say that if by chance there was a stand down order, the immediate thought
It's interesting, Red, because yesterday when this happened, you and I had this discussion last night, and I really believe, despite the fact that Madison is turned violent, I knew there would be protests, but I thought, with the student body, 100,000 students at UW Madison, and who there would be no violence. And I don't know, other than the 20 who broke into the press conference, I don't know if there's been any violence, so I'm not suggesting there has been. Let's just hope it remains that way, that we don't have. According to
Whoops.
a source that we have, uh,
Whoa.
there was and this happened like right near the band or orchestra had to
Yep. I
that
heard that
effect,
as well.
and uh, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I hope everything just cools down and the investigation goes forward. We do have a comment from the people's governor, so go ahead, Tim.
Just a quick statement about the stand down element. That occurred back when they were having protests around the Capitol and all the statues were torn down. Remember those days?
Yes.
Um, they were all, the Madison police were asked to stand down, and that's why all the damage occurred to the city and to the Capitol area at that time. Cost the taxpayers a ton of money. But there is a trend for being told to stand down, to let the chaos happen, and I think it's for a reason. And the reason is to generate chaos and damage and get everybody all riled up, because it's that time again, guys. It's
Oh,
time
yeah.
for another selection, lay it on.
That's
It's
exactly what I was thinking.
all crap. I'm done. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And thank you for your input, Tim. And so Tim confirmed the stand down orders that have happened in the past, and
Hmm.
uh, so you may very well be right, and I didn't mean to say that you
Oh, I
weren't
know.
right,
I
Red. I
know.
was just saying that we don't know that
Yeah.
to be a fact, but uh,
I just assumed that is the case because why else would you not be arrested in a press conference like that?
and
I
why
mean,
why
look at
would
the
they
press conference that you went to with Elijah Vu.
why
You couldn't even get in without your press pass.
why would they allow them the opportunity to continue speaking?
That's what I
Using
mean.
the mic. I mean, it's beyond my belief, and I don't know, Red. Maybe they can get to the bottom of it using the flock cameras that. But I think Madison
Well,
is one of the communities that was taking them down, covering them up.
yes.
Uh,
Actually, that was just posted. Did you bring up that article on your phone? That was
no,
just posted 2 hours ago.
no, I brought up the one, Red, about Racine, because as we talk about the flock
Oh, I thought
cameras,
that was Madison. I
no, that
apologize.
uh, so folks tonight, so again, that's what happened in Madison. That's kind of where we're at. We don't know what the temperature is tonight. I haven't had an opportunity to dive into it, but hopefully people are going to settle down, and cooler heads will prevail, and BLM will stay out of this, and not continue to bring the temperature up.
Well, so let's transition, like you said, into the flock cameras. So we were doing some research, and I had seen an article, a few months ago talking about how actually in Madison, they were covering up the flock cameras with garbage bags because allegedly they were illegal. Now, we have not been able to confirm that they're illegal nor deny, but like I said, it was just an article that was written a few months ago.
Yeah, and again, Red, I could not find anything that said that flock cameras are not legal in Wisconsin. There really are. What I found. Whoa, be careful there, Red. What I found was uh, that it's basically up to municipalities and law enforcement whether or not flock cameras are going to be used. And in Wisconsin, actually, and I'm going to bring up a map, and I'll put it up now quick before we lose this part of our. This is the one that we were well, we weren't having a problem last night, but
No.
uh, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see this map. But this map is of course of the United States, and the key here, Red. Boy, can you read that?
No.
Uh, 49 out of the 50 states have flock cameras, including Wisconsin. Wisconsin is one of them that has very few regulations regarding flock cameras. Now, flock cameras are designed to to grab your license plate number, identify the license plate number. It puts a timestamp when it went by. It puts uh, the direction of travel, and used in the right way, flock cameras I think are good. If our grandchild were had been abducted, and it was I mean, they could track the assailant using flock cameras, and vehicles can be found. I mean, if they're
Well, I mean, let's see. Right here in Wisconsin, there has been, let's see here. I thought I highlighted it. Hang on. 3 at least in Wisconsin that was reported. One in Milwaukee, an officer allegedly used the department network of flock ALPRs to track a woman he was dating and her ex-partner nearly 180 times over a 2-month period. He resigned in 2026 after being charged with misconduct in public office. And then there's one in Kenosha County. Sheriff's Deputy Frank McGrath resigned with severance pay after internal investigators found he used the department's flock system to keep tabs on another deputy with whom he was romantically involved. And lastly, on this particular list anyway, Menasha, Wisconsin. Officer Morales was placed on leave and charged with misconduct in office after his ex girlfriend filed a complaint alleging that he used the flock system to track her. And that's just Wisconsin. And that, like I said, is just one article.
right. So it comes down to, if they're being used for the right reason, then I think most people would support the use of flock cameras. But clearly, there are people who are willing to use them, uh, not for good, but for things like that, and we'll talk more about that as we go on.
You know, Mr. and Mrs. Wichow in the back, you can't hold flock cameras on that. It's the person. Absolutely. That's the point. If the flock cameras are used properly, that's one thing. But you have several officers across the US that is doing the same thing is what I just read. And I don't remember, I think there was just I believe 22 or 24. Up to 24 of them. Nope, I apologize. 66 cases across 28 states.
And that's just
And
20.
that's 2026.
That's just 28 states.
Yes.
And right now, 49 states of the 50 are using flock cameras, uh, and some with little or no, uh,
Problems.
or no. What I was going to say
Oh,
was, many states have, like, nobody's really watching to see what's happening with them, including Wisconsin. Wisconsin currently falls into the little or no specific statewide regulation category. Uh, Here we go in my
I
ear
know.
again.
I
This is
know.
gonna drive me nuts, Red. We didn't have this problem last night.
Nope.
So what is going on?
I don't know.
Uh, but I think when we talk about, before we go on, I do want to just reiterate again what information is being picked up with a flock camera. The license plate number, the date and time, the GPS location, the direction of travel, the vehicle make, model, and color, and distinguishing features such as roof racks, bumper stickers, decals, damage, or aftermarket accessories can all be seen on flock cameras.
Yes,
And
we can, Catherine.
we can what?
Send her the map. There's actually a website that I can send you as well that you can put in your license plate number and see if your license plate number is in the system.
And do you remember what that website was? We probably don't have it, but
Just one
yeah,
second.
that's an interesting one. Now, we put in our license number,
And we travel all over the state.
and according to this website, we have not been tracked in any way. But that we have to look at who owns all that data and how long is that data being kept. I think that's important part of the conversation. The agency or organization that purchases the cameras owns all the collected data. The,
It is haveibenflocked.com. I will put the link in the chat.
so there you go. Have I been flocked.com, and you can input your license plate number, and supposedly this will tell you uh, if your license plate has been uh, tracked in any way. So the data that's collected is stored in the Flock's cloud platform. Flock provides the software and the infrastructure. Uh, and agencies control who in their department can search the data. So that's interesting. When you talk about these officers, clearly they had access to this data because they were able to track loved ones or exes, whatever the case might be.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Which is disturbing, but like you said earlier, in my opinion, it can be a good thing if used properly. And I think there's more to it than just meets the eye.
all right, Red. So we're gonna jump in.
Sorry.
We're gonna jump into our break. On the flip side to our break, we'll continue the conversation about clock cameras, and if anybody's got any input, right, we'll allow anybody to jump in on the conversation. But we're gonna put on our tin hats a little bit in the second half of the show and think about what it could mean, along with some stories out of Racine. But I have to put up a picture because Red, it's coming up very quickly, and they made the announcement.
Yes.
They made the announcement. Sorry, it's hard for me to.
I know.
They made the announcement this week. The second annual Liberty Summit is scheduled, and registration will be opening soon. It is the weekend of September 25th and 26th. It'll be held at the Holiday Inn in Rosholt again this year. Great lineup of speakers will be at the second annual Liberty Summit. The first was a huge success. It was a great event. We were there both days, Red.
Yep.
And we will be at this one both days.
And why? Okay.
We will be.
We did get some. I got some information on some of the speakers, but I can't say exactly who yet. But we can say that Mr. Rabbit will be there.
Yes, we do know that AJ the Rippin' Rabbit. So, folks, if you have not had the opportunity to meet AJ, that just gives you one more reason to attend this year's Liberty Summit. It's sure to be a great time.
And we got 2 people in the backstage that's already got their room booked.
Who's
awesome.
That? Who's that?
That would be RJ and Keeter.
All right. Well, we're going to have to get our room booked, too, before they're out of rooms.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for the discount code, though.
It's going to be a great...
It was
another great
amazing
event.
last year.
It really was. And great opportunity for networking with patriots from around the state. And we're all going to learn something. I think that they said the focus is going to be election integrity this year, but I can't say for sure. But
I believe so, because of the one person I was told last night.
It's a great opportunity to meet some folks who maybe you only know through social media.
Now you can actually put the face with the name and get to know them.
I'm quite certain, Red, that there will be more people there this year than there were last year. I think
I do believe so.
Because people heard what a great event it was.
Yep, and I was told that they had to make it a little bit bigger, so just be prepared. Be prepared.
Mark your calendars, September 23rd through the September 25th and 26th, the Holiday Inn and Suites in Rothschild.
Be there or be square.
Mark your calendars because it's a great time.
Trust me, there's people that didn't book their room and was not able to spend the night, and they really missed out on a good time after the event was over. Even we just kind of carried on, and I think we went to bed around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because we were having so much fun. The time just flew by. So trust me, you would have a blast if you go.
But before we get to September 25th and 26th, we get to the end of August. And what is the date, Red? Because
Yes.
that's the first official day that we're going to take our show on the road
That
for
would be
We the People Wednesday. It's
August
August 26th.
26th at 6 p.m.
It's confirmed that Mr. Harry Waite, and I don't know if Jim Spodek will be joining him, is making an appearance at the Manitowoc County Patriots monthly meeting, and Harry is bringing his presentation to Manitowoc. So, folks, if you've never met Harry Waite, and we met a lady not long ago, Red, who was passionate about Harry Waite, although she's never met him, and I think she'll be excited to be at this event in Manitowoc. But if you can't, we're encouraging everybody to come to Manitowoc at 6 p.m. The Holiday Inn here in Manitowoc.
And they're having their potluck that night too. Their 250 America 250 potluck dinner that night.
For Harry Waite's presentation that he gave in Langlade County, but because we have the ability to travel now, Red, we're going to travel across town, and we will be broadcasting live from the Holiday Inn, and so if you're not able to be in Manitowoc, you're going to be able to hear Harry Waite right here on We the People Wednesday. We're going to go on early, and we're going to stay a little bit late, so come on down and let your voices be heard in person.
Exactly.
It's going to be a good night.
It's going to be a big night. In my opinion, it's going to be a big night. So, for the clubhouse.
For Braden's little clubhouse. So
long story.
Braden Meyer runs the Manitowoc County Patriots, and Harry's agreed to come and present to the folks along the lake shore. It's going to be a good night. We got a lot of good nights coming up.
Did you give him the address to the Holiday Inn?
I did not.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's at 4601 Calumet Avenue in Manitowoc.
Right off Holiday Inn. Right off of Highway 43, folks. You can't miss it. Just drive toward Manitowoc and exit Calumet Avenue, and you will see the Holiday Inn. It's right there.
And sorry, Keeter, it is a Wednesday night. He said hopefully it's not Wednesday, but it is a Wednesday night.
It is a Wednesday night.
That's why we're going to be bringing the show on the road.
That's right. We might make a trial run with the road show next week. We might. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I haven't had an opportunity to talk to AJ, but we might come to you live from the Little White Schoolhouse.
Yep.
Next week.
We'll see.
We'll see. We don't know yet, folks, so just stay tuned. But anyway, mark your calendars, August 26th in Manitowoc, and then September 25th and 26th for Hot Government and the Wisconsin Conservative Digest, who are the sponsors of the second annual Liberty Summit.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there's more sponsors to come.
Maybe.
I'm sure too.
All right, Red. Let's talk flock.
All right. What the flock do you want to know?
What the flock do you want to know? Well, Red, it is Tin Hat Thursday.
Yep.
And we know that there are people in Tin Hat Nation who believe that there's an agenda. The 2030 agenda includes some things like
15-minute cities.
15-minute cities, and they sell them as you can live 15 minutes from where you work and where you shop, and they sell it very pretty, like these just beautiful little locations.
Yeah, but you know what?
But seem to think that this is about the time they're going to roll out social credit scores, and you and I, Red, are likely to have very low social credit scores if that were to ever happen. And
yep, and we will never be able to leave that section of our town.
The Tin Hatters believe that 15-minute cities are designed for people like you and I, Red, with low social credit scores, so that we never have to leave 15 minutes from home. Not only, our freedom to move about the country freely is about to be diminished greatly with things like Agenda 2030 and some of the things in store, the 15-minute smart cities.
And how do they know if we stay in our little section of the world
Well,
if we're naughty.
well, Red,
Well,
when you have all these cameras in
flock
place, and
cameras.
now there's a group of people out there who believe that. Let me put our graphic back up so that see, now I'm playing double duty again. Uh, there are some who believe that that's what these cameras are all about.
I
That
do.
they're about restricting our freedom to it, with the exception we try and do as much with cash as we can to limit the tracking. But there are some times when we just have to swipe the card, and they know what we eat. They know what we.
You know, and you're only going to be able to eat X amount of protein, and that's why all this farmland's getting taken up. Um, a comment backstage, Mr. and Mrs. Witchow. If you're naughty, how should you not be held responsible? I'm talking naughty. Don't follow their laws. Well, I shouldn't say laws. We'll follow laws. But if you're doing something like what Harry Waite did, then you're never going to be able to leave because your social credit score is going to be so far down.
Well, and
If
social
you,
credit score takes into effect everything you write on social media. It takes, I
yes,
mean,
and say your credit score is going to be going down.
just talking about the government, questioning the
Exactly.
government in any way
Do
will
not
lower your.
question the government. Otherwise,
So do the things that would be needed to be done if we lived in 15-minute cities. Uh,
well, I wouldn't say that the us bad.
no, but they're designed. I mean,
They're designed for them to be bad, for bad people.
but they could easily be switched to control over people,
Exactly.
and
And that's the point.
now.
Right.
But the Tin Hatters believe that when we see the AI data centers that are being built all over the country, and it's not just,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're seeing a lot in Wisconsin, but it's not just Wisconsin, folks.
No,
It's
it's
all
all
over, and
over.
we see it happening
Mm-hmm.
and collected from things like flock cameras. And should they ever advance this to another step where now they need to track us and immediately transmit that information to law enforcement if you and I were to leave our 15-minute designated city. Uh, so there are some, and I was reading some, and I'm not saying I believe all this stuff, but there are some people out there, Red, who believe that flock cameras are the precursor to something far more dangerous.
And people, if the longer that you sit down and hope that somebody else is going to take care of something like this, or uh, the elections or the whatevers, you need to stand up and start taking care of it ourselves. And I'm not talking violently. I'm talking the civil disobedience per se. We need to rally together and fix our government. And if we don't fix it, this is what's going to happen. You don't believe it? Watch all the videos that come out of um, the WEF, the World Economic Forum. They've been planning this for years. It's not something they just decided to do because President Trump was the president. They've been doing this for a lot longer than that, and it's coming.
And we can look abroad. There are some countries where, and I'm not saying that there are countries that have been relegated to 15-minute cities, but we're seeing some restrictions put on people who live in the UK. We're seeing some restrictions on the country of Australia
Hmm.
that are a little bit alarming. You have an acquaintance
I was
in
just going to say that.
in Australia who reminds you every single day, do not give up, not every single day, but every time you speak to her,
Yep.
whatever you do, don't give up your weapons.
Yeah, she
Uh,
said we all are watching the United States because we are praying that the United States will save us because we stupidly gave up our guns thinking that it was for the better good, like what we all hear now. And if you guys give up your guns, we know that the whole world is screwed. And that's her words.
we hear that all you hear that all the time,
Yep.
and because they're faced with some things already that are really,
Well,
and again, it's not 15-minute
we
like smart
actually
cities,
we
but
actually
it's.
asked her to be on the show one time to tell us about her experiences down there back in 2020. But she's too afraid to, for that very reason.
Right. So, but let's go back to flock cameras. Whether or not, Red, they ever get to that point where they're used for nefarious reasons like that, we'll see. Uh, but we talked at great length about Racine County last night. We talked
Yes.
uh,
About the sheriff
Madrigal,
candidate.
the captain, and the candidate
And we
for sheriff,
also spoke about the DA.
the DA in Racine
Hmm.
County, who seems to look past all the things we talked last night about Madrigal falsifying her time records
Mm-hmm.
at the taxpayer's expense, and we talked at great length about that. And we tonight we're talking about flock cameras, and it's interesting that this was just posted 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that 2 hours ago.
Uh, and I'm
Interesting.
not blaming Madrigal for this because I don't know what role she plays in this, but the DA
Well,
certainly knew about it. But Racine County, we know there are problems.
oh,
We know they
absolutely.
are because we listened to Jim Spodek talk about uh, the officer who was now serving 65 years for uh, kiddie porn and bestiality, all the terrible things that went on there, and a captain who looked past that and didn't handle it internally and could have stopped some of it had she done her job. But we know that corruption exists
Well, all roads lead to Racine.
in Racine, and when we talk about flock cameras, and this one again just came out 2 hours ago, the Racine County Sheriff's Office and the Racine Police Department have had cases of flock camera misuse. Uh, 2 cases were dismissed by the district attorney, while 2 other investigations remain active. Uh, Now, the claim is that both law enforcement agencies are implementing measures to limit camera use and strengthen audits. Uh, there are 37 flock cameras in Racine and almost a dozen others around Racine County. They're
You know,
supposed to be
wait, how many cameras in just Racine?
37 in Racine.
Wow,
And
that's a lot.
I don't know if that's a lot or if I mean Racine's a pretty big city. I don't know that that's a lot, but 37 of them
Okay.
and a dozen more around the county. I'm surprised that we haven't been. We don't spend a lot of time in Racine County, but I'm surprised that our license plate wasn't tracked in Racine County
I've
at this
seen them
point.
when we've been down there.
They're supposed to be used to track vehicles and find criminals, but in the past 2 months, the Racine County Sheriff's Office and the Racine Police Department have each had 2 cases of misusing them. Uh,
Hmm.
and the Racine County District Attorney looked over the cases. 2 of them have been dismissed, and I think I'm repeating myself here a bit. Uh, Here's what we do know is that uh, the sheriff's office investigation dismissed on June 1st because the officer handed over the flock information he had gathered to the Summit Police Department right away, and he didn't harass the person he was searching for. So here's a member of law enforcement in Racine County, one of the most obviously a lot of corruption happening in the sheriff's office,
Yep.
and we've got one of their officers who's using it to
For
to
not so good.
track somebody,
Yep.
and they just dismissed it because he hadn't harassed her yet.
Yet.
Yet the
Keyword
operative word
yet.
yet. Uh,
In my opinion, he should have still been arrested and charged.
and this
I
was
don't care if he handed over the documents or not.
a divorce situation because in that case, according to a letter from the district attorney, the officer used the cameras when his significant other feared immediate harm from her ex-husband. Uh, Now there's a
Does
case
it
where
smell like cover up to me?
it
Yeah.
the other case was in May and involved the Racine Police Department officer tracking down a license plate of a car he co-owned. Uh, he's not been charged because of the small number of times he used the flock system. But the thing is, we can't have officers out there deciding that they're going to use the flock cameras to keep an eye on an X or to see what the X is up to. We know
No,
there
they're an X for a reason.
we know there are problems with domestics, and
And I was just gonna say, I heard somebody not long ago say, "Well, we'll give you a restraining order. That way, he won't harass you. He won't do this. He won't do that." You know what? You really think a piece of paper is gonna do anything? And then you have the flock cameras on top of that. No, we don't. I don't want to agree with it.
and Wisconsin Annie did say the number one and number two uh, dom- domestic abusers are law enforcement and military. And I don't, I you know, I'll take her on her word for that one. I don't know that that's a fact, but if she's putting that out there, if that's true, and now we have law enforcement who are using these cameras
Hmm.
to track exes. Uh, I don't know. And how do you determine who has access to the information? Who can use them? Because we don't know who the good players and the bad players are. And again, this is a couple knuckleheads abusing the system. Uh, we're not trying to suggest that all of Racine County law enforcement is bad, because they're not. There are
No,
guys there who want to do their job and do it right. But there sure seems to be a level of corruption in Racine County, and district attorneys, and who look past things and allow them to continue to happen. And
and that happens everywhere. I mean, there's cops that do that everywhere. That you know, they don't they don't abuse their power. We'll say.
well, both of these cases that are happening in Racine, they're both being investigated by the Department of Criminal Investigation. Uh, and the one in Racine County actually is being investigated by Kenosha County. So we'll see what happens. But I think well, I guess we'll see what happens. But uh, again, I'm torn on this one, Red, because if they're used for the right reason, I support them. I want them. I want them to be able to find people that are being abducted. I want them to be able to find the guy who assaulted somebody. I want them to be used for that reason.
And just like the little device that they're going to make 2027 vehicles be placed in the vehicles when they go out for sale, where if you look away from the road for too long, or if you appear drowsy or drunk or whatever, the vehicle will shut off. Well, that's all good, but that goes back to the 15-minute city as well. You go out of your 15-minute city, the flock camera picks you up, they'll shut off your camera or car, and you ain't
Well,
going
well, you're
nowhere.
right. That when they sell it, the good, it it could be good, but even in that case, Red. Now we're changing gears, but even in the case of those vehicle, what
I
they're
don't.
going to put in the new vehicles, whatever they're called.
Hmm.
I'm someone, I've never had a moving violation in my life, and I'm very
Right,
proud of that fact.
right,
I've never been in an accident.
right.
I hit a deer one time when I was like 17 years old. But good drivers, to be a good defensive driver, you have to look around. Your eyes have to scan from left to right to
Right.
watch for things like deer.
Especially when
And
you're in the
and
country.
if this AI technology in a vehicle is going to track my eyes, and
Hmm.
now, are they going to pick up and think that I'm not paying attention to the road because
Or that
I'm
you're
looking,
drunk because your
I'm
eyes are going
I'm
everywhere.
looking in a ditch on the left and a ditch on the right, and shut my car down? I don't know. It's scary, and
Well, and you said that it's two different things. Well, technically, they can be used together if you get to the 15-minute city.
well, I hope. I've just lost so much faith in humanity and where we're headed. And then, I see people like Francesca Hahn running for governor, and what that could mean, because I know what her vision looks like, and it's a lot different than what you and I have a vision for our state moving forward. Why are you rubbing your eyes red?
I had something in it.
So what I do think is really ironic, though, Red,
And what's ironic?
is that, in a lot of these communities, okay, so flocks are designed, to do what they do. And in a lot of communities, community members, citizens, everyday people who want a little civil disobedience are saying, I'm tired of the flock cameras. And they're doing things like either destroying the camera
Mm-hmm.
or putting something over the top of the camera so that they can't collect the data.
Yep.
And
I've seen a couple articles the
it,
last couple months about that.
but what's funny is, I read an article that very few arrests have been made.
Right. But why?
It,
They don't
because
know who's doing
are
it?
they failing to do the very thing that they're designed to do, catch criminals?
Right. So
And
that makes me question again,
I
what
just
are they
think
really for?
the irony there is just crazy to me that I could climb a pole, put a bag over the top of one of these flock cameras, and very few arrests have been made for the people doing the damage to these cameras. Uh, I mean, minimal number. There have been a few.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I don't know. You would think that law enforcement would be hunting these people down because it's typically law enforcement or community leaders who are saying, giving the go ahead for these flock cameras. So you'd think they'd want to protect their interest and chase these people down and show us how effective these flock cameras are to apprehend criminals. But they're either failing to do that, or I'm not sure what's going on. But
Well, I know if you go to that website that I mentioned earlier, haveibenflocked.com. If you go to that website, you can also, look at your state and see where there's um, agreements in place. And you can actually click on the link for the agreement and you can read the agreement. And I started to read Brown counties because they do have an agreement in place. Um, I didn't read through the whole thing because it was quite long and I didn't have time yet. But at that, what I was reading in the first 2 pages, it sounded like it was all ICE agents. So I assume that's what they wanted the flock cameras for in Brown County, is for the illegals. So I'm gonna have to go
now,
through and read the full agreement.
what's even scarier about that is the fact that that an illegal would have a registered vehicle that's legally licensed in Wisconsin, that a flock camera could find them. Uh,
Yes, actually, Mr. and Mrs. Witchow says our county just got it, and 14 arrests have been made with conviction. Funny thing, it is in our paper today. And yes, your county, Green Lake County, is one that has an agreement. I
and
have not looked at all the agreements yet.
and again, we're not disputing the fact that used in the right way, they're valuable tools for law enforcement.
But can you guarantee
To
they're going to stay being used in the right way?
No, and it is Tin Hat Thursday, Red, and that's part of why we wanted to talk about what the flock is going on here, because
Exactly.
what's coming down the road today. Today, it's being sold to us that it's just to help us apprehend stolen vehicles, or to track criminals who are moving about the
That's how
cities,
things
or
are
cities and
always
counties.
starting.
Uh, but
Always.
but what is it tomorrow? What is it tomorrow, Red? When our social score is revealed, and they're telling us, oh no, Red and Screech, you have big mouths, and you talk about Racine County sheriffs, and you talk about, or I shouldn't say,
Refugee
you,
resettlement stuff.
you talk about uh, the jab, the poison that we pushed on people. You talk about the Muslim Brotherhood. You need to shut up. And if you're
This is
not
how
going to
we're going
shut,
to do it.
this is how we're going to shut you up. You're going to stay right in your little village.
And you
And
know,
we're going to use these cameras to make sure that your ass stays right where it belongs.
and about a year or two ago, I actually started getting emails talking about my social credit score, and I just delete them. I never look at them. But maybe I should start looking at them.
So, folks, that's our tin hat message for the night. Go ahead, Mr. People's Governor.
Well, just a quick expression about the notice for tonight's meeting, tonight's show. I liked the way it was presented, where it states questions. Are these cameras an effective crime fighting tool that helps keep communities safe, rather, excuse me, Or are they another major step toward permanent surveillance society? Who controls the information? How long is it stored? Who has access to it? And can innocent citizens be tracked without ever being suspected of a crime? Those are really critical questions that need to be answered to take some of the mystery away. And I think the use for law enforcement purposes should require monthly reporting on a return on investment for the taxpayer if these items have been put into certain municipalities for law,
Did we lose
excuse
him?
me,
Oh, there we
law enforcement or crime fighting reasons. I think those respective law enforcement agencies should be reporting the efficiency of these tools and how useful they are. I think the more transparency, the better. The fact that they're out there and being used, you can't dispute that, but are they effective? So
So,
I,
so,
think- yeah, go ahead.
so Tim, as a former legislator, is this something that our state legislature should be addressing? Because I could not find anything on the books that would indicate that our legislature has
approved or
drawn, has put any guidelines in for communities that this is all done at the community level or within local police departments.
And the interesting thing about that is the timing of it. It's campaign season. I'm going to be real blunt when I tell you this. Come February, this past February, when the assembly went recessed for the rest of the year, 10 months, everybody went on vacation from the neck up. This is an issue that's happening right now in our communities, in our state, and everybody's out. Either they're campaigning for themselves or they're campaigning for other people, or maybe they're not campaigning at all because they're not being challenged. They're not focused on doing the job. We got 10 months of mental vacation going on while things are happening that should be addressed proactively. Same with the data centers. They did some action and then everybody disappears and stuff's going on and communities are in uproar. And where are the representatives? Where are the state legislators? Where's the support that's supposed to serve we the people? It's crickets. So to answer your question, could they? You darn right they could. And should they? Absolutely. Are they? Crickets. Crickets. So, hey, but don't forget to vote for all the same people again and make sure that you continue that status quo come fall. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry, I had to throw a little sarcasm in there, but
No,
that
you're
that
right
whole
though.
that whole mentality of voting for the same people all the time is fueling the grift, and it's fueling the apathy, and it's fueling the inefficiency of government. We've got to start looking for right people, right role, right time, and that comes back to the question, Scott. Could anything be done? Yes, it could. And if you had people in the seats that were focused on serving others and not themselves, i.e., campaign, etc., maybe you wouldn't have to ask the question because there would be some activity going on out there. So, anyway,
I mean,
that's my comment
because
here.
the way it stands now, like, and all those questions that were in the promo and that you just reiterated, none of them have been addressed. And I'm not sure that within communities who install the flock cameras, they don't. I don't believe they have their own answers to any of those questions. How long? Well, they do it. They'll hold the information for 2 months. But who has access to it? I don't know that any community can tell you who doesn't and what is the criteria for someone having access to that information, and are they sending that information anywhere else? I mean, there has to be, and we all want smaller government, but there has to be, at the state level, we have to have control over these cameras.
You ran a very effective program to solicit the people to express concerns regarding Harry and his sentencing related matter recently. And it was very effective. I think the same tool could work here, where everybody listening to this show should write their respective legislator, look for the promo and ask the same questions and do it handwritten so it's personal, not this chain letter stuff. And write your representatives, write your senators, write the people who are supposed to serve you in this government and ask them questions about this issue and have them answer. And frankly, they got to get some controls. They've got to get some reporting in place. They need some transparency. They've got to give some framework to the installation of these things that's going unchecked. They're putting them in all over the place. And who's making those decisions? Municipal governments? Okay, but that doesn't apply to the state. I think it has to be overseen by state legislators and they should get involved. So write them, Tell them to get off their doofus, quit campaigning for themselves, and do something for the people while they're still in the seat.
Absolutely.
There you go. More words of wisdom from the people's governor. Thank you, Tim, for your input on that one. And so there you go, folks. That's your call to action from tonight's show. Take this promo and the questions that were asked in that promo and do just what Tim just suggested that you do, and that's to reach out to your representative and put those questions in their lap and tell them you want answers. Before this gets out of hand, because it's in some cases it's already out of hand. We've got members of law enforcement who are using it for their own benefit or to follow an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend or whatever. And at what point is that going to turn to a vicious cycle of physical harm? And, when is somebody going to lose their mind because their ex-wife is dating another guy? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens. It builds up, and if he can track where these people are going,
Mm-hmm.
it could be an enemy, just some enemy they have, and people lose their damn minds, and at some point somebody's going to get hurt,
Absolutely.
and maybe beyond hurt, maybe somebody's going to get killed, and it's going to be tracked back to the fact that they were able to track somebody
Yep.
using the simple tool of flock cameras, and we're all going to at at that point when that happens, we're going to say, what the flock is happening?
Well, not to mention how many DAs are going to continue to cover it up. And
and
yes,
and
I'm going to call it a cover up. I don't
and
care.
there we go. We have again this same DA who's supporting a corrupt police captain who knowingly falsified her time
Mm-hmm.
sheets when she was campaigning while she was on the job, and they just overlook it, and they go in and they change the documents.
Yeah,
And
and who helped with that? The
thanks
DA.
thanks to our friends at Hot Government, that's all being exposed. And
Speaking of hot government, Harry says, who is monitoring compliance? Data held for 2 months? Another bad joke upon the public.
exactly. and
Another question, who's paying for these?
and think about the fact, uh, Harry Wade, someone like Harry Wade, who's not afraid of a little civil disobedience and understands the important role that can play in shaping our future. And do you think that there isn't somebody in Racine County with the 37 cameras they have in Racine and the couple dozen they have around the county that they don't just happen to know where Harry is on any given day
Oh,
if they
I'm sure
wanted
they
to?
do.
They just plug in his license number and they know that Harry went here, here, and here, and he drove past this camera at this time, headed this direction. And it's not just Harry. There are dozens and probably hundreds of people like that who they want to keep an eye on
Yep.
because Harry's not afraid to stir it up.
Nope.
Harry's not afraid to stand up to corruption.
Nope.
And it's scary to think what they can do with these cameras, Red. And
Absolutely.
again, used the right way, I support law enforcement. I know there are more good police officers than there are the bad apples. And I support them every step of the way. And
Absolutely.
going back to what I said in the beginning, Red, if something were to happen to one of our grandchildren
Mm-hmm.
or a dear friend, if our vehicle was stolen, I want them to be able to find it.
Yeah, that would be a
Um,
right way.
but when you just get one of the bad apples who wants to use it for the wrong reason, and at what point you think about it, Red. We've got a sheriff we know, or a captain. We got a candidate for sheriff in Racine County who we know is not afraid to cross that line of corruption because it's been exposed. And should she be elected in Racine County, think how someone like that might use these cameras to her advantage.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Uh,
in the cover ups down there, I think will be a lot worse. And yeah, I won't get into the rest of what my comment was going to be, but yeah,
so,
I think it'll get a
folks,
lot worse.
former Representative Tim Rampton gave you your assignment. We really have to do it. We need a letter writing campaign. Let's get some answers. Let's put it in the lap of our legislators, the people who are supposed to be working for us.
The people that we're paying to do their job that aren't.
And so that will be, we will put that call to action together, Red, so that maybe people can start writing some letters. We'll define some good questions or a bullet list, just like we did, and
Just like we did
say,
before.
write a letter. And we'll do a letter writing campaign because,
And hopefully you get answers.
yeah, we probably wouldn't get one
No,
from our representative.
no. Nope. I can guarantee it we wouldn't.
All right, Red. Well, we ran a little bit long, but now the music's playing. We made it through another episode of Tin Hat Thursday with very few glitches with the new system, and we are ready to hit the road, I think, Red. We've moved around a little bit inside the owl's nest here to make sure that we could pull it off from a couple different locations.
Yep. I will say real quick, though, Harry has another good point. You are already paying to expose yourself with your cell phone.
Yeah.
They can track you with your cell phone. So do we need the flat cameras?
Well, we could talk about everything because we know, Red, that our vehicle listens to us because the man in the vehicle talked to us one day and we didn't know he existed. And we know that our smart TV listens to everything we do.
And your phone from across the room answers you without even touching it.
So there's so many things. I love technology. I love my mobile device. I like that I can go anywhere and I can search anything no matter where I'm at. But there's drawbacks to having that smartphone. You know, maybe our friend Jay had it right when he had the flip phone, and there were things he couldn't do on that flip phone that I can do with my smartphone.
But he still has a flip phone, and he's smart.
But
and Wetzel says that flocking the owls. I wouldn't doubt it.
So, Red, maybe we have to stop asking any questions about what the government's doing so that if Agenda 2030 rolls out like Tin Hat Nation believes it could roll out, some in Tin Hat Nation, maybe our credit score will be high enough that we'll still be able to leave our 15-minute city.
I don't think they go by the credit score anymore. They only go
by
the
credit score. I meant the social
credit.
Social credit score.
We will never be able to get on a plane ever again.
Yeah,
our social credit score will be so low.
I'll have to turn in my passport.
Yep.
All right, Red. Well, we're done for the week. We're going to be back next week. Wednesday with We the People Wednesday. We will also return Thursday with Tin Hat Thursday. Now, I had to back that up because otherwise we're going to run out of space, Red, and I don't like. AJ said, end it when the music ends, so we'll just keep backing it up.
Okay, anyway, talk faster then.
All right.
Tomorrow night,
AJ the Rippin' Rabbit with another episode of Rippin' Rabbit Hole Live. Folks, if you didn't listen to last week's, go back and tomorrow. That's your assignment. Before you write your letter to your representative, go back and listen to Rippin' Rabbit Hole Live
before showtime. Before showtime.
Because it was a great episode. We had so much fun, and AJ did a little experiment that I honestly didn't think was going to work, Red, but it did. It did work, and it was pretty cool.
Well, and then Sunday is two or more gathering, backstage only, and we unfortunately did not make it last week because we were helping in a parade, but I don't remember which John we're on now. I believe we're going to be on 16, I believe.
I don't know, but we will be back this week. I didn't get word tonight how the meeting went, and I told you last night that Steve Rzuski in the 37th Assembly District needs some help. He needs some help with a lit drop because we've got he was born for this role. There, a little play on words for the current rep who's got to go. Establishment born has got to go, and Steve is the right man for the job. And Steve needs some help doing a lit drop. And I didn't hear any details about his meeting. I'm not sure when it is, but I will be putting it out on social media as soon as I know.
Yes.
And please come to the 37th Assembly District. And
you don't have to talk to anybody if you don't want to. Just put literature at the door. There you go.
Simple lit drop. The easiest thing you can do. The only people you have to talk to are somebody who might come out to the door. And
yep. But we need all hands on deck to get these Patriots across the line. You know, the primary's coming up in just a few short weeks. So get your butts out there and help.
So watch for my social media. If it happens before next week, I will make sure I put it out on social media.
Right.
Uh,
So otherwise, you have Sunday, like I said, backstage only, 2 or more gathering. And then we will be back Wednesday for We the People Wednesday.
and maybe Thursday we might actually leave the Owl's Nest.
Yeah.
An episode of Tin Hat
The
Thursday.
first on the road.
Uh,
Potentially.
there's an event at the Little White Schoolhouse, and we're not going for the event
No.
necessarily, but we want to get some feedback from people coming out of the event. And we might be set up on the sidewalk with the traveling Owl's Nest set up on the sidewalk, and we'll do a show right there live from the Little White Schoolhouse.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna shut up, stop wasting people's time.
Because we have a republic to save.
Have a good night, folks.